All right, let's get to the phone lines right now, and let's go to Hancock County and talk to Miss Cindy. Cindy, good evening. What can we help you with?
Hi.
Good evening, Cindy.
Hey.
I was at a friend's house and I fell through the floor.
Uh-oh.
And now I have to have a major knee surgery. Can I sue the people for the floor? I mean, what can I do about it?
Okay.
Cindy, let me throw this real quick. Give Jim a little bit more information. Were you walking into their home, or like on the back deck, or were you already inside the home?
I was already in the home and I was going to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I was coming out the bathroom and I fell through the bathroom floor.
The floor just gave way. You fell through. Okay. All right. So a couple things here. Cindy, I hope you're okay. That's the first thing.
Sure.
And those can be difficult surgeries and problems. So that's the first thing. You want to hope that Cindy's okay.
Sure.
But in terms of a potential lawsuit, let me give you an outline of what the law allows in sort of this situation. A homeowner has to make their home reasonably safe for people who they invite in. So
Okay.
that means they don't have to ensure that everything's safe, but it has to be reasonably safe, okay? And so if there's a condition that existed for any length of time where they knew or should have known that this floor was weak or could collapse, then that makes that homeowner potentially liable.
Gotcha.
Right? Now, people out there owning homes just terrifies people.
Yeah, right.
I own homes.
I'll never have anybody over again.
Anybody over.
Right.
But that's why these people, everybody who owns a home, typically has and should always have homeowners insurance.
Absolutely.
Because your homeowners insurance should step in then, Cindy, or your friend's homeowners insurance should step in, pay for your medical expenses, pay you a reasonable amount for your pain and suffering, any wage losses that you have. They should step in and compensate for this. So the short answer is you have a potential claim depending on the circumstances. Generally speaking, if it's a rotten floor, it's going to be hard for the homeowner to deny the fact that they knew or should have known that it was rotten.
Right.
Probably it was soft for a while. If assuming it's an elevated floor.
Okay.
May have had some termite damage, may have been wet. Those things typically don't happen, dramatically. They happen and deteriorate over time. And so that's kind of what you need to look at. If it's a serious injury, and it sounds like it is, you've got a surgery, you probably need to talk to a lawyer. It'll be tough to negotiate this sort of process by yourself, Cindy. Not to say that you couldn't, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to call the office Monday, we'll talk to you and see if we can help you. And if we can't, we'll get you to somebody who can.
Talk time frames for Cindy here. She didn't say it. Let's say this accident occurred 2 weekends ago, something like that.
Yeah, Cindy, so a couple things. When you have a potential claim, I talk about this all the time, there's the actual legal statute of limitations or time when you have to file. And then as a practical matter, if you're going to bring a claim, you need to be acting even sooner than that. So let's talk about that for a minute. Typically, you have 3 years from the time you knew or had a claim to bring a claim. That's typically, now, not everybody listening to this rely on this because there are always exceptions in the law.
Right.
It could be as short as a year, depending on who the defendant is. But you have a certain amount of time to file a claim or you lose that ability to file forever. So it's important to move quickly for that reason. The second reason, though, and more practical reason to move within a few days, if at all possible, if you have a serious injury, is this. Evidence is lost. In this case, you'd want to have documentation of the injury. You'd want to talk to witnesses. If anybody else was in the house, or other friends, stigmatize people before they lose memory of what happens.
Right.
You want to, if you could, document or even have an attorney send the homeowner what's called a preservation letter so that they can't destroy any evidence of the rotten floor or termite infested floor, whatever it was. So you don't want to wait a year or two to start that process, because if you do, typically all the evidence I just talked about will have disappeared or been gone. Okay.
Well, and Jim, you mentioned it too a moment ago. A knee injury could be one of these things where they go in there, they take care of the little bits of cartilage, and you're good to go. Or we all have it, because I've had knee injuries. I know Matt's had knee injuries. It can last for years. It can really be. It can affect. It really can get into your life.
And it can affect, depending on what you do. We didn't talk to Cindy about this. Depending on what you do for a living, it may really hamper your ability to earn your living. It's, if you're someone who works on your feet all day, if you have to carry weight, may have a weight restriction. So it's nothing. It's no laughing matter. They do a lot with knees today. A lot of times they can do some kind of orthoscopic surgery, and people are fine. But sometimes you're not. You need to act with caution because this is the kind of claim I was talking about earlier that potentially could affect your ability to function, do things in the future that you want to do, including earning a living.
Gotcha. And what was the name of that letter? A preservation letter?
Preservation letter.
Can she do that on her own, or it really should come from an
Not very
attorney's office?
effectively. So this is one of the things we do as attorneys. If you come to our office or another attorney who handles these kinds of matters,
Yeah.
and there's, if it's a car wreck case or an 18-wheeler case or anything that involves physical evidence,
Right.
we send out within a very short period of time, the first day or two, we locate when in the case of a vehicle, for instance, where it's at, what wreck yard, and they get a preservation letter from us that
Right.
requires them to not touch anything that's potentially evidence in the case, that they can't destroy it, they can't sell it, they can't alter it until we have a chance to inspect it. And people that don't hire an attorney early on that knows what they're doing
Right.
lose that ability. A lot of times, I can't tell you the number of cases over the years. I've had people come in, serious trucking accidents, life threat, maybe sometimes people kill,
Right.
and they wait 6 months to hire an attorney. The vehicle's been repaired and put back in service. The defendants have got out there and inspected the vehicle. They have documented what they want. What
Right.
you need is mysteriously gone, and the case
That's
is
the way it
much,
goes.
much more
Right.
difficult.
Don't sit
that's-
around.
No, you can't. You
Gotcha.
got to get people involved who know what they're doing early, especially if your injury is serious.
Cindy, great question tonight. Really hope your knee gets to feeling better. My injury took away my gymnastics career. I mean, I was doing so great.
You were headed for the Olympics.
Maybe, perhaps it just took it away from me. Cindy, I hope you're feeling better with that for sure. And give us a call back in a couple weeks here if you need more information.